We start our first plenary session for today, which is going to be conducted by Ed Rigsbee. I think all of you remember Ed from yesterday. Ed, can we have you up? Ed is, for those of you who have joined us only today, Ed is one of the few people to hold both the Certified Association Executive Credential from the ASAE and the Center for Association Leadership, and also the Certified Speaking Professional Credential from the National Speakers Association. Ed Rigsbee.
Thank you very much. Very good. Good morning, everyone. Yesterday, as I went around and shook hands, a number of you handed me your business card, and it was pretty obvious to me that I was in the presence of some very impressive and powerful people. Would you agree with that? Yes. Okay. So I also noticed that because some of you are very impressive and powerful, you're also successful. Would you agree with that? Yeah. But now here's the important question. Have you moved to being significant? I'd like to ask you about that. Have you transitioned from being successful to being significant? Let's talk about that a little bit. You know, think about it. You've come to be the leader of your organization. Some of you in the room are volunteer leaders. Some of you in the room are paid staff leaders. And specifically for the paid staff leaders, you may have come in from a government job, a corporate job. You could have come into the situation where, you know, it was maybe just a little something you wanted to do. So here's the thing that I'd like to ask you. Would you like to leave your organization stronger, more powerful? Would you like your organization to be more vibrant when you left? Is that something that you think you'd like to have? Or, let me ask you another question. Are you just on vacation? You know, in a lot of the work that I've done around the world, I've worked with quite a number of chief staff executives, the top paid person, and I've met some people that are just phenomenal people that are working hard, that are doing everything they can to make their industry better, to make their association better. And I've met some people that are on vacation. Do you know who I'm talking about? Have you met those kind of people that are on vacation? So if you want to be the type of person that wants to make your organization more powerful, more vibrant, to have more power at the federal government, then let's talk about something. Let's talk about gross revenue. How many of you, is this a nasty word to talk about money? Is it okay? No. Is it okay? Okay. So let's talk about gross revenue for a minute. So you bring in revenue from where? From membership, from non-revenue programs, conferences, product services, is that right? So when you subtract your expenses, what does that give you? Yeah, could you guys put the lights back the way they were? Gentlemen, can we put the lights back the way they were? There we go. Awesome. Much better. Okay. Okay, so we're on net, right? Now, how many of you want to call that profit? Do you want to call that profit? What do you think? No? Is that a bad word? Is it not okay to call it profit? Okay, so let's call it net, just to make everybody much more comfortable. So if we call it net, so net equals what? The good works that you can do, is that right? And then what happens if you have a zero net? What happens? You have a train wreck. So really what I'm going to be trying to get across to you is some ideas that can help you, yourself, to be significant, that can help you to have net that you can do good works with. So I'm going to throw at you 4 activities. Ready for the 4 activities? Okay. So, number 1. How about if you see your organization through the eyes of the non-member? Okay, you're sitting there thinking, huh, what is he talking about? Why would I want to see my organization through the eyes of the non-member? Here would be my suggestion to you. If the person is not a member and they could be a member, why aren't they a member? Is there a reason? What are some of the reasons that they're not a member? Audience participation part. Just yell it out. What are reasons that they're not a member?
Never heard of you.
Never heard of you. What are the other reasons?
No benefit.
No benefit. What are other reasons?
I gotta pay.
I'm sorry?
I gotta pay.
You got what?
I gotta pay. I gotta pay.
Oh, you got to pay. Could you speak English, please? Jiminy Christmas. I thought he said I got to do something else. I was having problems with that one. Yeah, sorry. You know, the Americans can't understand. So we've got these reasons that people are not members. But here's the thing. What my observation is that too many organizations are remiss about looking at their organization from the outside in. We're always looking at our organization from the inside in. We go, we're doing all these great things, and why don't people join? So if you start looking at your organization through the eyes of the non-member, then you're going to start understanding how to bring more members in. Now, does anybody in this room, do you have 100% of your market share? That means, let me finish to make sure we're clear on what that means. That means every vendor and partner that you could possibly have, you have. Every member that's the functional member, you could possibly have. Now, how many, and there's one person, how many has 100% of your market share? Nobody. Okay. What I was going to say, if you did have 100% of your market share, you could feel free to ignore me this morning, because then it really wouldn't matter what I have to say, because you already have 100% of your market share. But since you don't, well, you know, let's talk about a couple other things. Now, what about benefits? Now, remember yesterday when we were talking about your PIN? You remember that? Excuse me. Could you ignore me for 1 minute? Okay, sorry. I have to get back to what I'm doing here. So we have the PIN. Now, let's look at this PIN. How many of you have your PIN from yesterday? You have your PIN from yesterday? Okay, very good. So focus in real close. Bring the camera in really tight. So this thing right here, this piece that goes up and down, what is it doing? What is it doing? Come on, you all should know. What is this pin doing? It's putting the writing surface, it's either pushing it out so I can write, right? Is that correct? Or it's retracting it, so what happens? What happens if it retracts? Okay, so is this a feature or is this a benefit? Excellent. So this is a feature. This means because it's something that's built into the product or service. Is that correct? What's the benefit to that feature? Well, the benefit is when I take this pen and I retract the tip, okay, and if I put it in my pocket, I'm not going to get ink. Is that correct? That's the benefit. It's a benefit to my pocket. And besides, my wife would be really upset if my suit was, yeah. Now, we have this clip. The clip that just broke. This is a National Speakers Association pin. I guess a free pin's worth what it cost. So if I did have a clip, that would be a feature or a benefit? Feature. And what's the benefit of that feature? If I put it in my pocket, not this one, but if I put it in my pocket, it'll be there, right? So in looking at this, here's something that we need to be thinking about within our organizations. You can put it back on the... If you're out there talking about features of membership, people are less interested. They're more interested in how those features are going to make their life better. And for those of you in the room that are the paid staff person in your organization, I'll challenge you. I'll challenge you to take a look at your marketing materials, your website, and I'll challenge you to read it and ask yourself, are we listing simply features or are we explaining the benefits? Now, in talking about benefit, how good are you at copywriting your benefit? Because here's what you want to be thinking about. If you're going to write benefit, let's look at what are the buying motives. Does anybody know what buying motives are? Give me a buying motive. This is the audience participation part. Buying motive. Stages? Status? That's one. Okay. Other buying motives? Okay.
Satisfaction.
Satisfaction? That's kind of one, yeah. Needs. What? Okay. Let me go through this. Profit or gain. How many people join an association because they want to do better in their business? Would you say most? I would say most. So is that a buying motive? That's a reason for them to. I know it's not nice to say buying and selling in the association world, but you're selling, okay? So in looking at why a person might join, because the more people are going to join, the more money you're going to have, the more good works you can do, the more significant you can be yourself. So understanding how do we write the benefit copy, benefit statements that we're going to put on our website through profit or gain. How about fear of loss? Does anybody buy stocks for fear of loss? Do they? I think they buy it for profit or gain. Does anybody buy life insurance for fear of loss? I think so. So, you know, in looking at what are the reasons that people join your organization, would you agree not everybody joins for the same reason? Would you agree with that? Okay. So then what about comfort and pleasure? How about the comfort of being with colleagues? Does that create value for certain people? Absolutely. How about avoidance of pain? Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know exactly what the numbers are in India, but in the United States, painkillers are like $3 billion or $6 billion in sale a year. People buy a lot of things to avoid pain. Would you agree? Some people will join your organization to avoid the pain of not knowing what's going on in the industry. Love and affection. That's that significance. And pride and prestige. Some people will want to join your organization just for the prestige of being able to put your organization's logo on their business card. Would you agree with that? So, in looking at how you talk about your organization to the outside world, the eyes of the non-members, I would highly suggest that you consider talking about benefit rather than features. Third thing, communicate, first calculate return on investment. So is anybody on your website or in your marketing materials, are you telling your members for every dollar you invest in membership, you get, or rupees that you invest in membership, you get X amount back? Does anybody have that on their website? No? That's something that you might want to consider as a possibility, because people want to know what's in it for them. There was a study that was done this year, and you can, if you look on the bottom of this the screen, there's a place where you can get this study free. You might want to write that down for yourself. But it says the top 3 challenges in growing membership, and this is in North America, so it may not apply, but from all the discussions I've had yesterday, I'm pretty sure that it applies. So the top difficulty is in communicating value. How are you doing on that? Are you communicating value well? If you're not, some of the people like to say that their organization is priceless. Have you ever used that? That it's priceless? Anybody ever said that? That's an American? Okay, because don't use it. We'll move on. Here's the thing. The old way of getting members to join an association was selling guilt, was telling them they have to support their industry. You've used that, haven't you? Sure you have. The newer way with the younger people, did you notice the difference? How old is that man? How old is that man? How old is he? 50, 60? Okay, somewhere in there. Very good. How old is this man? 30? Okay, so we're looking at a big generational gap, right? If you look at this one, selling guilt is one tool in your toolbox. Selling benefits to the younger people are a lot of tools in your toolbox. Here's the thing that I want to say to you. Perhaps you've done fine selling guilt in the past, but I guarantee you, like I said yesterday, you compete against Google. You may not agree with me, and that's fine. You have the right to be wrong. But what you need to understand, I know it takes a second, but what you need to understand is that in selling benefits and having a larger toolbox, you're going to get more people that want to join. So I'd like you to be thinking about this. Member recruitment is selling. Would you agree with that? How many would agree with that? Raise your hands. How many think I'm full of you know what? I know you do. Okay. You do. Thank you, sir. Understand, member retention is customer service. There's a big difference between the two. Most every organization puts the two of them together. So one of the things that I'd like you to be thinking about, a lot of you in this room yesterday talked about legislative work and advocacy work. How many of you do that? How many of you, is that a big part of what you do? Okay. And here's the interesting thing. The people that are not members of your organization, do they get the value from that legislative and advocacy work?
Yes.
Yes, they do. So does that make it a member-only benefit? No. Now, I didn't say don't do the work. That's not this discussion. I'm not saying it shouldn't be done, but what I'm trying to get you to think about is looking at the difference between what is a member-only benefit, feature of membership, and what is something you do for the entire industry. Because a lot of the younger people that you're trying to get to join your organization, I guarantee you, when you're asking them to join and you talk about guilt, join because you should support the industry, and then you're hearing, well, I can't afford to join, and besides, you're going to do that work whether I join or not. You've heard that. So in separating out the difference between member only and industry value, here are some numbers that are not overly important other than this is some research that I did over 10 years, and the average in US dollar numbers of the various benefit, which was member only. These are the numbers up there. And these are some valuation sessions. This one is North Carolina Dental Society, where it's the individual as the member. And if you look at it, for every dollar they invest, they get $10 back. This one is American Council of Engineering Companies, Colorado. This is where the company joins, not the individual, and it was $30 back for every dollar. Is this something that you think that maybe you could do? So if in looking at this whole idea, let's talk about the features of membership and could you add more? So here's something that you might want to do. If you were to take each of the features of membership that you have that are member only and work with your members and find what they believe the value to be in real numbers, and then if you were to plot those on a graph like this, if you notice the vertical axis is high perceived member value on the top, low perceived member value on the bottom. The horizontal axis is to the left, low cost of delivering that product or service. To the right, high cost of delivering that product or service. Now, if you were to start plotting the various features of membership that you offer, you would have something that looks a little bit like this. You're going to have dots all over the place. Does that make sense? What does that mean? So here's what it means to you. If you look in the top left quadrant that's green, okay, those are products, services, activities that the members perceive as high value, and they're also low cost to the organization. Do you think you want to do more or less of those things? More. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a no-brainer. More. Yeah. Now, when you look at the bottom, that quadrant is high cost to the organization, So it's inexpensive to you, and it's low value, low perceived value to the members. Does it make sense to do that? And I would be willing to submit to you that if you were to go back and do this exercise and lay out your various features of membership, you're probably going to find that there's a few of them in that red quadrant that you may want to consider not doing. The top right quadrant, bottom left quadrant, if it makes sense, if it's strategic, what the hell? Go ahead and do it. The fourth thing that I'll throw at you is help your members to become member recruitment evangelists. Can you yourself, as the chief staff executive, can you get around to everybody in the industry and recruit them, sell membership to them? Probably not. Why not get your members to do it? Something that your members need. If you want to get your members to where they're actually recruiting, you've got to give them some kind of a tool that works. And here's the thing that in so many of the marketing materials I go over and I work with organizations on, as I look through the marketing materials, it doesn't tell me anything about what's in it for me. It's all these soft things. So you want to look at creating something. Here's an example of one. If you look at the far left, there's a whole list of what that organization delivers and what the members tell the organization it's worth to them. Might be a different approach, but I think it's worth doing. So I'm going to kind of, before we'll open this up to some questions, I'd like you to think about this. If you were to bring more revenue into your organization, that would allow you to do more programs, right? That would create your organization to be stronger, more powerful. That would allow you to be more significant. And then ultimately, that's going to affect your legacy. My gift to you today is simply this. Yesterday, there was probably half the discussions I heard, somebody brought up something around partnering. How many of you heard partnering or alliances yesterday? A lot of us did. I've written 3 books on that topic. The bottom URL there is access to get a number of articles that you can grab, and there's permission to reprint. The things that I've talked about today, the top URL, those are articles that you can access on the book, the ROI of membership, and there's permission to reprint. So with that, we've got a couple minutes. If somebody has a question, I'd be glad to answer it. And if you don't, then we can move on to the next speaker. Are there any questions? Nope. Oh, there are. Oh, geez, there's a lot. Okay. I thought I was going to get off the hook. You know something? Yeah, pick whoever you like. Okay. Okay, hold on. Arlene's going first.
Thank you, Ed. So I wonder if you could elaborate just a little bit on the member value piece, on the quadrants that you showed us, because one of the things that I think some of our organizations experience is sometimes we weigh heavily what our members tell us they want, but that might not include what our members don't know they want, but that they need in terms of directions that the industry is going or things that they need down the pike. So there are times we get feedback where members say, don't want that, don't need it, but they may not be thinking far enough ahead. How do you factor that in?
I think we're talking apples and bananas here.
Okay.
Because, I mean, you know very well, Arlene, and from ASAE, their research tells us that good organizations study what their members' customers need so they can offer solutions to the members. You're asking about what members ask for. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how members value what you do. Because anybody that's been in the world of manufacturing, of distribution, of selling, customers will tell you, oh, if you just bring in X, Y, or Z item, we'll buy it, and then they may or may not buy it. So I'm not talking about, in this topic right here, about looking at asking the members what they want. I'm suggesting that you go and you value and you look at how do your members value your features of membership, your products, your services, your activities, high or low, You're going to see that if you value it in dollar numbers or whatever monetary system you want to use. And then the organization looks at how expensive it is. It's rather an exercise to get you to look at, are you squandering resources? And I think that most organizations, when they look at this in a quadrant system, it's a little bit more visual, and especially when you work with your board of directors, and they kind of look at this and go, oh wow, we didn't realize that we have so many things that are expensive, but the members value low. On the converse side, when you see that there's things that the members value high and are inexpensive, well, gosh, let's try and do more of that. So I think we're talking about different things. That would be a whole nother topic of discussion. At this table. Would you like to come up here and talk into my chest? Here, just talk into my chest. Oh, you got a mic? Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
He didn't want to talk into my chest.
Well, people want to see you there, right on the stage. I have a small question. In the Indian context, we found when the economy is not doing too well, it really affects the revenues of an association. Do you see that in the US too? And the benefits are the same, but we find a correlation between if the economy is not, the whole industry is not doing well, and you would certainly see the revenues taking a dip at that time.
Do you want me to answer that question honestly?
Yes.
Okay. That's a great excuse for not having members. It's a great excuse. You go, oh, the economy is poor. They're not joining. Oh, there was consolidation. They're not joining. Here's what the members are really saying. There's not enough value to motivate me to pay for membership. Yes, you're absolutely right. When there's a down in economy, there's going to be a certain dip. However, I will tell you that I see more people using that as an excuse than is a reality. And so if your organization, if you've laid out your features of membership and you've explained it how it makes their life better, you valued it in real money numbers, and you're communicating that, then the people are going to see why it's in their best interest. The other thing also is, if your association is heavily reliant on advocacy work and legislative work, then what happens when the economy dips? Yeah, people are naturally going to drop off because they're going, all I was doing was making a donation anyway. In their head, right or wrong, in their head, they're just saying, belonging to this organization is just a donation to the industry. What I'm trying to convince everybody in this room is, let's turn our thinking around. And let's not sell one tool, guilt, join because you should, but rather let's sell, this is how the products, the services, the activities make your life better, and why it's a good business decision, it's a smart business decision, it's a smart career decision, it's a smart financial decision to join our organization, because our members have told us for every X amount of money they invest, they get X amount more back. So yes, there is always going to be a little bit of a dip based on economy. There is no question about that. However, I would encourage everybody in this room, don't use that as an excuse for non-performance. Other questions? The German Indian guy.
Yeah, in fact, I'll just come briefly to the last point. From our experience, in 2008 and 9, when there was the global recession, the VDMA membership reached the highest level, because that was where new members had joined to know where the new markets or possibilities for businesses.
There you go.
So substantiate
there you
your
go.
point fully.
Because you were creating value, right? Absolutely. Sir, wait a minute. The gentleman in the back, he had his hand up first, and then the gentleman in the front.
I just have one question to you. Even in your slide presentation, when just take the start of your presentation, you said net and then good work and bad work or whatever it is. Why are we so afraid of calling profits as, profit is not a bad word.
Well, something, I think your question is good.
Sorry. The companies, they join you to make profits, reach out, sell their products. They are eventually aiming at generating profits. So what is so bad about calling profits as profits?
I'll answer that. For a non-governmental organization or a nonprofit, for whatever reason, they just don't like to use the word profit. That's fine. I don't care. We'll use the word net. I mean, I don't know why people have their heads screwed on wrong. I don't know. I'm not a psychologist. Ask William. But I think that if somebody doesn't like the word profit, great. Let's call it net. You need a lot more net to do the products and services to serve your organization. So if you don't like to call it profit, call it net. Oh, sir, gentleman in the light blue shirt, he was next.
Yes, sir. Hello. 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 Yeah, the return on investment, which we were talking in dollar terms, we said that, okay, this is the figure you get on after investing so much of money. Now, if we have more number of members, the return on investment is going to go up. Let's say, shall we say we get 100 more members, the output remains the same, and the return on investment is going to go up.
Well, I would hope if you get 100 more members that you're not going to keep all the net. I would hope that you would add new products and services into the package, because the whole idea of bringing more members in, giving us more net, is so we can do more things in our industry to serve our members.
But you don't recommend that we keep the return of investment on a higher figure the moment we get more members?
You know, I think that's in many regards, I think that's it's a moot point. If you want a higher return for your members, that's fine. But the thing that I think that we've got to be really, really careful of, the reason I put up that picture in the slide about are you on vacation, I've worked with a lot of chief staff executives that are on vacation. And they just say, no, let's leave it the way it is until I retire next year. So all I'm suggesting is, you know, look at if we can increase the net, maybe we can add more benefits, which then the members will say increases my return on my investment. Sir, in the light colored shirt.
If profit is a dirty word, why not you call it surplus?
You know, you pick the word you like. I have no issue with using the word profit. I mean, I really don't. But I'll get to you in 1 second, sir. But I figured I'll offer you the word net. Now, but the problem with if you use the word surplus, just words have meaning. People think that you're hoarding too much money. So I would just say net is a good word. You know, but it doesn't matter. Whatever word you like. This gentleman over here, please. And then, sir, in the back, you'll be next. Yeah, no, sir, you, please.
The best word would be value creation.
Well,
instead of saying profit, value creation.
I can't agree with that. You know, it's a basic business. Look, everybody is in business. You have gross revenues, you have expenses, and you got what's left over. And that what's left over, it's either profit, it's surplus, it's net, but value I see as a different situation. I really do. Sir?
You can call it reserve.
You can call it reserve, yes, sir. That you can do that. Yes.
In the example that you gave about return on investment,
yes, sir.
You know, this is very subjective. It's not very quantitative. In the sense
whoa,
that...
Whoa.
No, I
haven't
yet finished.
No, we got to stop. No, we got to stop.
Your answer may differ.
No,
No, I'll tell you. You could have a member who sees a return on investment on $3 versus $1 that he spends as membership fee. There's somebody else who could say, my return is $50. Now, my question is that what is the sample size that you think is adequate to be representative of this? Because if out of 100 members, the 10 board of directors think they're getting a value of $50 to $1 spent, and the rest of 90 feel that it's $3 or $5, how do you assess that? That's my question.
I will answer that question, but I have to tell you the time thing says we're at 0. So I'm going to answer your question. That'll be the last question. So to answer your question, sir, when you say you can't qualify it, yes, you can. And you do qualitative. We have quantitative research, which is SurveyMonkey, ask a question, get an answer. We have qualitative, which is basically interview or focus group. If you have 100 members and you do a qualitative session, a focus group session of 25 members, no, not all board members, because board members always get more value than the rest, and you do 25% of it, that's reasonable. I'm working right now with a Canadian company, and I'm doing a telephone interview qualitative, and I'm doing for 60 people of their 300 members. So that was the sampling that their board of directors chose. So, you know, the idea is, and you know, I tried to take in 15 or 20 minutes and give you a full day workshop, which obviously we can't do. And just trying to just give you some of the key things from the book that I think would create value from. And I don't want to sound like I'm selling my book. So my most easy answer would be go buy the book. But I think what you want to look at is if you have a reasonable sampling that has newer members, older members, bigger companies, smaller companies, people from north, south, east, west, not board members, just a mix, it's not going to be perfect. I completely agree that it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a heck of a lot better than what you have now, because what you have now is nothing. So in offering numbers, yes, different people are going to say, I want this much ROI. Other people are going to say, I want that much ROI. But if you take all of your features of membership and you value each one and you publish that information, then the people that are interested in these 3 or those 4 or these 2, they can see what their colleagues, what members have said it's worth to them, and they can determine if they think it's worth that to them. Folks, thank you very much. I'm here all day. You can argue with me all you want. I'll be glad to be out in the corner. You know, but my time is up, so I will turn the podium back over. Thank you.